We have with us today TJ Corum, who's an alumnus of Appalachian State. You're going to tell us a little bit about, we're going to talk about the draft and all, but first, TJ, tell us a little bit about Appalachian State.
Appalachian State is home to me. I'm originally from Boone, North Carolina. Had a chance to played high school at Watauga High School, which is there in Boone, and went on a couple of recruiting trips to smaller schools. Newberry was one, Lenoir-Rhyne, just a couple off the top of my head. And I had the chance to talk to Jerry Moore, Coach Moore, which is the head coach still there. Great man, really nice guy. Knew I wanted to stay in Boone, and he said, he gave me an opportunity. He said, I will let you come on if you're willing to work. And that's something I would like to tell to high school people. I actually spoke with North Forsyth High School a couple of years ago when I first moved down here. And the high school, the transition between high school and college is just a whole different level. And my one thing that I'd like to tell to football players throughout Forsyth County is, if you're willing to work, you're willing to put the time in to make that sacrifice, because it's a job.
Yeah,
it is. It's not like high school football. The coaches here in high school football, they want to make you work, they want to make you do it, but their hands are kind of tied, so they can't do the things that collegiate level can. So I got to play a couple years, got to experience a lot of cool things. Got to meet a lot of neat people. Learned. That's what I took in. I knew I was the caliber player that I didn't have any expectation of going to the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
I was a realist. I was more of a secondary player, special teams. I did get to see some playing time when somebody would get hurt in the game. Georgia Southern was always a big competition. A guy that I got to play against my early years was a guy named Adrian Peterson.
Right. Great.
Not the Adrian Peterson, the Minnesota Vikings. It's something to be proud of for Georgia Southern. He set an NCAA record, 36 consecutive 100-yard rushing games. I don't care what division you're in. That's a record. So came to Boone that next weekend, and he had 36. We stopped him with 77 rushing yards, and we lost the game, but we took the record. So not a lot else. I got to do a little GA, got to experience national championship with him, and it was a lot of fun.
You said you won the ring in 05.
05.
And then also again in 07.
Yeah, 07 was a GA then.
That was your GA, and then we were talking before, that was the year they beat Michigan.
We beat Michigan. They actually came to Boone and did a show on us that you see on Sports South before football games. So it was kind of neat. They got to see us working out what we go through to get ready for football games. A lot of people before Michigan, we used to play Wake Forest, and a lot of people don't realize that we used to beat Wake Forest. And Wake Forest stopped playing us because of that reason. And Duke never wanted to play us, and even the coach of Duke, at that time, he's now the coach of Lenoir-Rhyne, and openly admitted it. He goes, I talked to Coach Moore, we just didn't want to play him. So a lot of people just didn't give us the credit that I thought was due. We was a team that we're not the biggest, we're not the strongest, and we may not be the fastest, but we're not afraid of anybody, and we're afraid of, and football is just not having that fear. And I'm not the biggest guy neither. I've gone against the big boys and I've been hit, but I've got back up, and that's what a football player takes, I think.
Yeah, and then of course that goes along that same line. We were talking, a lot of the other Southern Conference schools are doing well, and some of them are going on to the pros now.
I mean, and that's something that's setting the example, and that's something these kids should think. Hey, you look at the rosters throughout the Southern Conference. You've got Furman, you've got Georgia Southern, you've got the Citadel. These schools are coming around to Georgia, coming around this area, and they're recruiting players, and they can make you a good football player.
That's true. There's a lot of them. We were going to tell you about the NFL draft this week. There's some teams from there, people from those schools getting drafted now.
They are. I know the Citadel had a cornerback drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, that says something right there. I mean, the Citadel, years ago, we used to think the Citadel wasn't, they never had any talent. Now they've got some talent. It's a beautiful campus there at the Citadel. Georgia Southern, they've got talent year in and year out. They got a guy now, a transfer from Ole Miss, a defensive end. He's a stud. Trey Tripp is his name. Great player. great player.
So looking forward to this year's Southern Conference. Who is kind of going in the favorite, or who won it last year?
Appalachians won the Southern Conference, I believe, 8 years in a row now.
8 years in a row.
And that's the record. Georgia Southern had it at 7, so we took it from them. They beat us last year. It's one of those things where we like having that competition, the rivalry between these schools, and they build. And that's what I think brings fans in, is having rivalries like that.
Yeah, that's great. And like I say, it's coming down to this area because they're recruiting a lot. We've got some people from here that's gone to Furman. One of the kids from a couple of kids from North or South went to Furman.
Yeah, I saw that. Saw doing a little research last night, just looking at the team. He's going to be a redshirt, I believe. Right. But that's a good thing. You get a year's experience, and you don't use a year of eligibility. So you get the practice in, and you get the more experience.
Well, great. It's been good. And like I say, we're getting a lot of people excited about the high school season coming up. A lot of things going on, and we're glad to have you here. Appreciate you coming by, and appreciate the information you give us.
Oh yeah, glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Anything else that you want to tell us about as far as the Southern Conference or football in general?
I'd love to talk about football in general. It's definitely one of my topics I like to talk about all year long. The draft. I know the NFC South is real big around here. I tell you, starting off with the Carolina Panthers, I'm not impressed with their first pick. Cam Newton's a great player, but I don't know why you would want to invest in something like that when you had all these other players that you could build a team around better, I think, because you're really taking a shot in the dark with Cam Newton. All these stuff that's around, it's still there. It's still questions that are unanswered.
And I don't know if he's going to have that much to build around in Carolina. You need a base to build on.
You got to have a base. In Carolina, John Fox, I think he left it at a good time because it was coming down to a downhill spiral. They kind of stayed on with Jake DeLong too long, I think. Put a lot of faith in him, and I mean he led him to a Super Bowl, but you got to have more than that. You got to prove it. Every Sunday.
Yeah, and I think the Falcons were able to deal from strength. They kind of helped a lot of other stuff, and they deal from strength and went to get a great player.
I know the talk was reports seeing out there the Falcons really wanted to trade up to get A.J. Green. So when I saw A.J. Green was taken in the 4th pick, I didn't think the Falcons was going to come up. I really didn't. I didn't think the Falcons was going to give as much up as they did to get Julio Jones. Yeah. Julio Jones is a great player, plenty of talent. It's that question mark.
Yeah, we just have to wait and see. You have to see what develops. That's what makes everything so good. You just have to kind of wait and see.
But the Falcons have such a great team, anyways.
Oh yeah,
they really had a great season last year. Something to build on. I really think that Grimes, quarterback, I really think they should try to go after him more. Yeah. Give him, it's greed now in the NFL. I hate to say it, but players want money, and he's a player that can play.
That's true.
He's an athletic player, and he's a game changer. I think the Falcons should really keep him. I like him. I think the team to watch this year, though, in the NFC South is definitely Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
What they did with the talent, I mean, they're going down to 3rd-string guys for their defense. Second-string, a guy I played football with, Corey Lynch, was there. He made his first pick with the Tampa Bay against Matt Ryan last year.
Oh, really?
So I cheered him on. He's a great guy. But Tampa Bay's got a young quarterback in Freeman, and I really see strong things coming out of them.
All right. Well, we'll see when the season comes around. So again, thanks for coming. Appreciate all the information, and look forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.